Yeah, hello, Prof here, back here after work. Got a super kind of beat up Amazon box in the mail today and was very confused why. Well, there, you might be able to tell by that label. That's not Amazon US. I kind of forgot that I ordered from Amazon Japan. And you're like, how the heck did you forget? Well, I did. And that big of a box is for this little tiny guy. This little tiny guy. And you're like, it sounds like it weighs nothing. That's because it does. Essentially weigh a lot of nothing. Now, what did I have to order? I order stuff from Japan all the time, but what did I have to order from Amazon Japan? And what is it? It's a SSD? What? What? SSD? What? It is actually correct. This is a Japan exclusive Buffalo, which a lot of you might know for their shitty routers. Buffalo is a much bigger brand in Asia, especially Japan. Very not uncommon to see routers from them there, and other equipment. They have also made they're in some interesting subsets because especially over in Japan and Asia, they are popular. But it's like they'll make like weird things, like just like one off, and this is one of those things. This is a Buffalo SSD. For size though, you may notice there's a pen next to it. Here, for those of you that have a Tuck XL, that is a Tuck XL. What is a Tuck XL, guys? Basically has a utility blade in there. And you can see this is not much bigger than a utility blade, right? So, and then here is the knife I just used to open it. Okay, so here's my hand. That box is pretty dang small. This is the Sabrent M.2 SATA and NVMe adapter. Put your drive in there. You get a Type-C out of that end. So the box is basically the exact same size for those that have it. And if you do any work, imaging drives or even your own systems, like you just need to pull data off an M.2, that's the one you want. But this cardboard box is the same size as this M.2 enclosure. And this is like a reasonably sized M.2 enclosure. See, just M.2 with a heat pad there. That's a reusable one. But this is a whole SSD, right? And if you look here, 1 terabyte, which that could be possible, you know. For example, here is a 990 Pro 2 terabyte. That's an M.2. This would fit in there. This weighs less than that, not the package, but literally the M.2 that is in there. You have to trust me on that. It's very hard to demonstrate weight without a scale. Oh, we have cats fighting because I'm shooting a quick video for you guys. Or at least quick for me video. Right, so terabyte, tiny little, like, lightweight package. Remember? Here. There's nothing. This is what this sounds like on here. Like, this weighs nothing. And now you'll see very shortly why I had to order this. Okay, Manuel. Or whatever Manuel is in. That is an SSD. That is an SSD. This. Like, here's my thumb. It's a literal thumb drive. Smaller. It's like a Japanese thumb drive. That's like a pinky drive. There you go. It's a pinky drive. Terabyte. This is insanity. Basically, think of your small SanDisk or Kingston flash drive, like the one I keep on my keys. The only thing is I wish there was a hole in it, but apparently they can't manage that, so I got a cap with a hole in it. This is a terabyte SSD. And we're talking, this is a terabyte proper SSD. Like hundreds of megabytes a second read and write. It's not a flash drive. This has a SSD controller. Here, that's a 2x zoom in my hand. Here's a 5x zoom. I had to pick this up. It actually went out of stock, and I put myself, because I meant to pre-order it, and I missed it. So I actually put myself on Amazon Japan, which is the exclusive retailer of this little guy, on the auto notify for when it was orderable, and then I ordered it, like I reserved the order, and it didn't have a date when it would ship. They hoped by the new year, and it finally shipped. This thing is amazing. Let me do a quick benchmark for you. Front USB on my case. Let me grab. Okay. All right. Look at the little guy. Okay, that's an iPod. Like iPod Classic. That is the terabyte SSD. Over here, this is in here. This is my Sharge 2230 SSD enclosure. It's got a little fan. You can pop the little door for a little fan. Or if you don't want to use the cable, that's the actual the lanyard for it. You can just pop that whole thing out and it plugs right in. That plugging right in, super handy. Even more handy than this little guy though. Here, for example, look at it. Like that, you can just dangle off your bag like that. That's super handy, right? Look at that thing. It's so tiny. Look. Alright, so I was playing Call of Duty, but then I opened that up and I was like, oh, I gotta do a thing. This is local disk E. It's having a little bit of a think to figure out what it wants to do with it. I wonder if it's like Japan format or something. Disk management. I gotta call it in here. Bump up my sensitivity a little bit. Okay, the computer is grumping. Okay, what happens if I just... Computer no longer grumpy. It's USB 3.1 Gen 2, I believe. Let's try a different USB port. Try. No, oh, that went up and then unplugged itself. Those could have slightly unplugged though. I had to hot glue them in the case. Let's go get the Surface. We'll try this one more time. I bet you though what happened is my front USB is slightly unplugged. Yeah, it's not showing up. Even though we're hearing boo-doo, bee-doo. Yeah, even though we're hearing that, I gotta check that I actually had to hot glue, like the thing that Gamers Nexus says, oh, they're like dragging on builders for doing. Nah, dude, that USB 3.0 giant 30-pin plug is insanely likely to come unplugged. That took a long time. I'm guessing there were Windows updates. Oh wait, the Surface just pops on. There's Gertrude. Hey, Gertrude. Rawr. See what her cat lunch looks like. Oh yeah, there's definitely. Yeah, well, we got a kitten now. Kitten cat. I don't know. Are we low on bats? 40%. Nope. Okay. Yeah. Kit Kat. Okay, there's my background. Okay, so, oh, yeah, there's no USB on that side. Hold on. Cat, no. Kitten, don't go under the laptop. You're going to cause it to fall. The USB-A on the Surface Laptop Studio is on the left side here. Alright. Okay, there you go. It saw it right away. Yeah, my front USB on there must have got unplugged again. Gotta do better. So, it shows up as, it's even got an icon. Oh, bro, I gotta back that up. I love drives with icons. They use auto run, which is super unsafe. I'm not surprised at all to see Japan using that. But I actually collect drive icons, and I have for a long time because back in the day, every little flash drive used to have one. Oh, and here's another thing that you can see here. All right, we can actually do Control T in File Explorer and open a new tab. For those that don't have the latest version of Windows 11 at the time. So this is Control Shift N, and it says it's SSD-PSTA U3A. Paste all that crap in there. Okay. I don't know what this download page.exe is. Buffalo tool. We're not installing any sort of Japanese Buffalo tool. Cat nearly killed themselves. They jumped on the kitten. Nearly killed themselves. They almost knocked the lamp over. Lovely. Well, we can run the same tests over here because I have access to my tools folder. Always make yourselves a tools folder. In this case, what we want is first off, we want monitoring folder that I have up. By the way, I do share this folder for those interested. I just kind of collate my tools that I use all the time. So we're gonna run this here. That's Crystal Disk Info. Hopefully I clicked good enough or fast enough because it seems to be taking forever. I watched like 5 of them open or some shit. Alright, so there's my Kioxia that's in the Surface Laptop Studio, and then D. There you go. Buffalo, 0 writes. UASP, it's even using NVMe Express. So it's an NVMe SSD. Terabyte. I'm guessing Buffalo SSDs are not very supported in, I don't know. You guys let me know. How supported are Buffalo SSDs in Crystal Disk? Because, like, even older Crucial ones, mine only read properly after an update. But what we're going to do is now we're also going to go to Stress Test folder. And we want Crystal Disk Mark. Run that real quick here. And since we have NVMe, you want to go Settings, NVMe SSD, Profile. I just leave it on default plus Mix. Mix gives you read and write over there. There's other ones that you can run. All of my previous benchmarks basically on default. Then I added the plus Mix recently, so that is why I just run default plus Mix. Sometimes the other stuff is more important, but this is how you see your big numbers. All right, let's go. I mean, I know it's like watching paint dry, but I only did 3 passes of 1 gig. There you go. Should be 500 by 500 roughly, from what I recall. And you're like, oh, any SATA SSD and a USB controller can do 500 by 500. Yeah. That's smaller than my thumbnail, much less my thumb. And it's NVMe. I really do need to get those front USB ports on my case fixed though. But I am going back in there because my cable mod cables came in. So no problems with that. I thought I had fixed it with a little dab of hot glue. Maybe I need multiple dabs of hot glue. I want to see that right performance. Come on. Yeah, very little data on it in the. Here's my Kioxia. Also, think about that. Surface Laptop Studio, expensive laptop. I actually purposely only spec'd it with the terabyte because that also you can get this model in the 32 gig memory, which is what I need, and I only need the terabyte for certain Windows features. I can get away with 512. Terabyte gives you a lot of nice extra room. The 512 kind of starts cutting it close for me now. This was available in a 2 terabyte though as well, but I'm saving that money, you know. And then also you can get it in a 3050. I was worried early on. The specs were showing if you went with 32 gigs of memory, you had to go with a 2 terabyte and you had to go with 3060, and then that increases power draw, all this sort of stuff. But boom, right there, write speed 453.27. So we're basically maxing out USB 3 speeds. Because USB 3 speed is 5 gigabit, is what they call it, right? Roughly that's gonna be 500 megabytes. Subtract some overhead. Bada bing, bada boom, bada bam. So not like I said, not only we're doing a USB NVMe Express standard NVMe, so it's an NVMe SSD that does full USB 3.0 speeds, say 450 megabytes a second. In like here, you can see it next to the keyboard. Like it's the size of a keycap on a laptop. Yeah, that's going on my keyring. That is. I just have to find an older style cap that really holds on to it. Some of them even have metal clips in them that has a hole in it because there's no cap sent with this. Nothing. I mean, the little rubber plastic caps are kind of useless in the first place, but this, I need some easy way to carry that around with me. So now you guys know why I had to quick rush you this video. Is as I sit in my newly refinished chair. Love the fabric and the color we got it in, or got it redone in, I should say. Yeah, I had to, as soon as I forget, like there was a tech news place that showed that off, and they're like, yeah, it's exclusive to Japan because it's Buffalo, and then not only is it exclusive to Japan, but from everything I found, luckily it's exclusive to a place I can easily get stuff from, Amazon Japan, but it's exclusive to that, and I could have pre-ordered it, but I didn't because I just forgot. I showed other people and I'm like, I'm gonna order this, and then I just didn't. And then by the time I was like, oh shit, forgot that pre-order when they sold out of their first batch. Like all the reviews on this thing are raving too, because normally people are so used to flash drives that or even SSDs that say that they like whatever speed, and Buffalo's like, nah, it does 450. And it actually does 450. Roughly. Yeah. Could be a little bit different depending on the USB controller, that sort of thing. In that big. Yeah. So if you guys need a cool thing, or you're like, hey, I carry a big old flash drive on my keyring. I used to carry a 32 and a 64 gig. Then those disappeared. Literally can't find them with that, which I'm bummed about. At some point they fell off my keyring and just so I picked up the newer versions of those from Kingston. Luckily a brand still makes really little, just barely sticking out of the USB port ones that are all metal. You want it, if you're putting it on a keyring, you want all metal. But the smallest they make them in is I want to say it's 64. because it has to be exFAT, which is a bummer because a lot of times you need FAT32 for boot drive performance. But so I picked up one of those, and then I picked up a 256 because my tools drive has gotten so big that I don't want to say it's bigger than 128 gigs, but once you format 128 gigs, it gets mighty close. So I'm going to throw the full thing on the 256. And I probably will still do that, or I might throw it on the SSD. Yeah, for those wondering, like, think about this. If you're into benchmarking, yes, I know it's not the world's fastest SSD, but it is NVMe, right? It is going over USB, but it is NVMe. Theoretically, because it's NVMe, you might be able to do direct storage off of it. I don't know what that looks like, if that works properly, but this could be your benchmarks drive. You know? Like, and I was making a huge deal about getting, like, M.2 drives you can plug right in, like that Sharge. That's amazing, because you just walk up to a laptop or a computer, slap that bad boy in, and you got full M.2. That one, in most controllers and boxes only are 10 gigabit, so USB 3.1 Gen 2 or 3.2 Gen 2, not the by 2, because it gets kind of weird above 10 gigabit, because you start going into Thunderbolt speeds or doubling direction on certain cables, and USB 4 is like a combination of Thunderbolt and high-speed USB. So 10 gigabits pretty common. The new T9 I did a video on from Samsung does do 20, but it's still only like a 3.2 by 2 20, so it's a bi-directional. Basically, it takes all the pins of the USB-C, and normally those are used for flipping it. You know, like being able to plug it in either direction. And what they do is they just use them they use all of the lanes instead of just being able to flip it over. They use them all for bandwidth. It does make C less universal, less compatible a little bit, I think, but makes sense. But think about that. So we're getting what I thought it was a big deal, that Sharge one, because it's about EA big. You know, it's a 2230 SSD instead of a 2280, which is the normal, like that's about this big, right? This is smaller than most flash drives. That is smaller than most flash drives. That is insanity. That is insanity. Well, guys, would you like to see where the kitten's sleeping right now? Yeah, that is on top of an upturned bench, on top of a my second TU-150 ITX computer case box. Because you got to get as tall and high as you can, obviously. I mean, you know that, right? Alright, guys, have a good one as always. I'll try and throw a link down in the description for this. I want to say it's a bit over $100, but for a terabyte SSD, especially a unique one like this, not unreasonable actually, price-wise either. I didn't think for what it was. So I want to say on the terabyte M2230 M.2, I put in the Sharge. That might have been 80. You know, and yes, 2230 is already a bit unique. So like a full-size 2280 SSD is maybe 50, 60 for a terabyte. 80 for you know, like a little guy, because they're more compact, less common. A bit over 100 for the little guy.